The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
You're listening to the Shepnaz podcast, a podcast by Shepherd Church. Everything we do here is to connect our community in a meaningful relationship with Christ, and we're expecting great things. My name is Joey. I'm the host of this podcast, and today we have a special guest. It is her first appearance and her introduction to Shepherd Church. Blaire Crutchley is with us today, the brand new children's pastor at Shepherd Church. Welcome in, Blaire.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. You agreed to do this, and you're not even getting paid for it yet.
Cheers. I'm a servant. I have a servant's heart. What can I say?
Yeah. You're so humble.
You know? Yeah. This is my spiritual gift, actually.
So Blaire comes to us. She actually lives here in Gahanna already, which is great for our budget and not having to move her across the country. But we're so incredibly excited about what God's going to do in our kids ministry and through you, but not just what you can do, but that who you are as a person. So we'd love to introduce you to our church family and to whoever might be listening / watching this podcast.
Hi, Mom. Just kidding.
Oh, we might get into that. But hey, so tell us a little bit about you. Maybe some of where you grew up, kind of how you came out here, because you're far away from a home base.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about
the journey. Yeah. So originally I am from Washington State, not Washington D.C., but Washington State on the West Coast. Grew up there. I was born in Wenatchee, Washington, and then grew up in Yakima, Washington. They call it the Palm Springs of Washington. It is a lie. That is not true. But then I did sports and dance. I was a competitive dancer. Honestly, my professors in college called me a golden retriever because I kind of am all over the place. And so my childhood reflected that. So I've done like just about everything you could think of. I was a competitive bowler, varsity. I won districts, went to state all 4 years of high school. So mess with me, we'll go bowling. I played soccer, softball, baseball, I danced. So I did all that stuff. So I traveled a lot of Washington. So I also affectionately love Seattle. So I'm a Seattle sports fan. Mm-hmm. And now, for the first time, I don't have to be sad about it because my baseball team made it to the playoffs for like the first time
in your life, right? Almost.
No, second.
Because it had been like 20 years.
Yeah.
I
was itty bitty, but
yeah.
My love for Seattle sports runs deep. If you see the back of my car, I'm decked out with all Seattle stuff. But yeah, I grew up in Washington State. Grew up in a Nazarene church, West Valley Church Nazarene. Shout out. They raised me well. They loved me really well. And I jokingly call myself like the church kid because the church raised me. The church is why I'm still here. That community really partnered with my family, really partnered with me, helped me decipher my call to ministry. Literally everything. They were family to me, still are. And so I grew up there, and naturally, when you go to a Nazarene church, they tell you about Nazarene schools and Northwest Nazarene University in good old Nampa, Idaho, just outside of Boise. Shout out. We were Crusaders. Now we're the Nighthawks.
Yeah.
Go Hawks.
Had to change that.
But yeah, so
we do still have one called the Trojans, though.
Oh, yeah. Where are they? Eastern?
Nashville.
Oh, is that them? Mm-hmm. See, sorry about Trevecca. I didn't know that. But yeah, so I was out there. My youth pastor's wife tried to convince me not to go to NNU because she was smart. And I loved NNU. Don't get me wrong. But she just was like, you could go anywhere. And I didn't know about any of the other schools because honestly, I might have gone to Point Loma because it's beautiful. Or Olivet because it's also beautiful. It's on water. I like water.
Yeah, Point Loma would have been though.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful there. So
if you don't know, at Point Loma,
it's on.
If they literally they have as a gym credit, you can take surfing.
I love that.
So
there's also fun fact. I have been praying that the Lord would call me to California, and so far that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was in Idaho.
It's just the same thing.
It's basically just right. It's great. It's just as warm. My skin is glowing. JK, I'm brown, so it doesn't change. But went to Idaho, did NNU, was there for 4.5 years. I really struggled through college. I didn't, as I'm growing and maturing and things, learning my childhood and trauma and kind of things like that. So let me give one more last little piece. My mom, when I was about 10 to 13, started struggling with drugs and alcohol heavily, and she ended up becoming homeless. So I actually haven't seen my mom in the flesh in quite a while, probably at least 7 years now. I think it's been, she's still alive. God's still sustaining her in some really cool ways, but that was an interesting journey. And then my dad and I really struggled. He was pretty verbally and physically abusive growing up, but I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Finding Me by Viola Davis. Really good book. Also really good interview with her and Oprah. I would highly recommend listening to it. But she uses a phrase, Viola Davis uses this phrase about her dad, and it was essentially that he was stubborn and abusive, but he loved me. Somebody's going to hear that and go like, oh yeah, that's the trauma speaking. Yeah, it is. But it's true. My dad really did love me, and I really loved him. And that was a difficult relationship, but God and my church, my family, all those things, like, it's a really fun story. It's been a really cool journey. But all I'd say, went to NNU, and that was part of that struggle, was unlearning behaviors and being in an untraumatized space, and teaching my professors how to navigate dealing with students who had a call to ministry, but who were struggling through their own childhood trauma, who didn't grow up in a, typical Christian home. So I did that. I was originally a worship major. Then I went into youth ministry because I miss teenagers. I miss working with teenagers. And then I felt this call to preach in there somewhere. And I was like, no, thank you. But through working with teenagers, I just loved it. Walked through that. And then I just, lots of things, growing in that. But my senior year of college, I interned at a church in Eagle, Idaho. And then I ended up getting on staff there. It was my first ministry job. But in the end of my last semester, literally the week before I started college, or my last semester of college, my dad was hit by a car and killed. So that journey was real dark, that last semester of college, real hard. But it pushed me, ended up actually graduating on the dean's list, had my best semester because it just really lit a fire of some stuff for me. And then the last 5 years have been kind of navigating that journey. But I was in Eagle during all that. That was a cool place. Then in the pandemic, I decided to move to Ohio. Knew nothing about Ohio. Literally didn't even know where Ohio was. But I just really felt the Lord kind of leading me towards Ohio. Interviewed with a church in New Philadelphia, New Philadelphia Nazarene Church. That was weird. Yeah. But I was there for a couple years. Loved that. It was also culture shock, also hard space, but the kids were awesome. Teens were awesome. That's where I became a kids pastor and a youth pastor. And I kid you not, if you would have asked me 3 years ago if I would ever be a kids pastor, I would have said absolutely not. But it was at MP-Naz that I really developed an understanding for family ministry and a love for kids. And then ended up out here in Columbus a year ago. I was at one church and had a blast out there too. It was nuts, good times. Like, man, it's been an adventure, but it's been a cool time. So God's been, and then now up to today, doing a lot of different things. I actually took 6 months off of ministry. And God really has been teaching me just, how to be in his presence, how to be his daughter. And so I've been sitting with that over the last 6 months and working through some stuff, and just started to reach a point where I felt the Lord going, like, I just felt myself going, like, I'm not doing what I was made for, and I got to do something different. I was doing social media the last 6 months, and yeah. And so, started talking to you, and then also doing some stuff now in the community with a youth organization and serving a different population of families over there and doing some trauma-informed work. And now I get to be a part of this and going to grad school, by the way, counseling. I'm a lot.
You're not doing it enough.
Yeah.
We have to add some more stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah. So
that was a really long intro bio.
They're clearing a soccer field out there.
Yeah,
so
I'm in. I'm so down. I'm down.
Let's go do something.
Yeah.
You don't have enough going on.
I'll goalie it. Let's go.
Several Sundays each year, we have an opportunity for child dedication. When parents dedicate their children, they are showing a desire to commit them to the Lord and His service. Our next dedication will be on Mother's Day, May 14th, during both worship services at 9 and 10:45 a.m. If your family is ready to take this step, let us know by emailing podcast@shepnaz.org or visit the connection card on the contact page at shepnaz.org. Are you new to the church? The pastors would love the chance to get to know you. Tuesday, May 15th at 6 p.m., Shepherd will host Pizza with the Pastors at Massey's Pizza in Gahanna. If you would like to join them, let us know by emailing podcast@shepnaz.org.
Well, we are really, really excited. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is really what we're doing here at Shepherd is kind of doubling down on our investment to families with young kids.
Yeah.
So Pastor Ashley was children's pastor here for 8 years, and she's still here. She's on sabbatical at the moment, but when she comes back, she's going to be working with our young families still in our school and daycare. And so where at, 3 weeks ago, we only had one job that centered around kids in the church. Now we're going to have two, and we know that. I was listening to a sermon by Julie Mullins from a church in Florida, and she said that there's a race to the hearts of the next generation, and whoever gets there first wins. And that's like what we're saying is this is a race to the heart of the next generation, and we want to be there first.
Yeah.
We want to win their hearts so that they fall in love with the church, they fall in love with Jesus, and they serve Him. Yeah. So more kids would have your story.
Yeah.
Where they could say, maybe things weren't perfect,
but
that church raised me, and I have that.
They showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So let's talk about kids ministry.
Yeah.
And some of your hopes and dreams, and maybe not just specifically here, because I don't know how much you thought about that, but when it comes to what it looks like to minister to kids, what does it look like? Yeah. And what are your kind of goals when it comes to working with families?
Yeah. One of the things for me that has developed over time is this tagline of partnering with families to point kids to Jesus. I don't typically say parents. I don't say grown-ups. I just say families, because families, it's changed, right? The world is different, but also family looks, for me, family was my pastor. Family was my small group leader, right? And family looks different for everybody. And so at the end of the day, my hope and heart is to partner with whoever is in charge of that tiny human, or if they're preteen, they don't want to be called a tiny human, but they'll get over it. And it's to walk alongside. So a couple things that I always say to people is every kid matters. Every parent wants to win, and show up anyway. There are 3 little taglines that I have, and I stole them from really smarter people than me. But, every kid matters, right? It doesn't matter who they are, where they came from, what they, have going on in their life. They matter because they matter to God. They're made in His image, and God loves them. And so they matter. If they matter to Him, they should matter to us as the church, right?
That's good.
And then my second one of every parent wants to win, or every adult that's in the life of a kid wants to win. I don't know many. Sure, yeah, you've got your extreme situations where someone has a kid and didn't want them, or whatever. But at the end of the day, that adult in that child's life typically wants to do the best that they can, and they're doing the best that they can. And so as the church, as a faith leader, as a person of, take away church even, right? As somebody who says they follow Jesus, right? The Bible tells us that the kingdom of heaven belongs to the least of these. It belongs to the kids. And so my heart is that I would have, and my story, right? My story of my parents had only so many tools with what they had going on. Life was hard. They had their own childhood stuff, right? But it was because there were other adults in my world who followed Jesus, who loved me, that therefore they partnered and walked alongside and they didn't shut me away from my parents. They actually helped me love my parents and helped me learn what it looked like to be Jesus to my parents. And through that, developed a relationship with my parents. And so every parent wants to, because I want to believe that every parent wants the best for their kid or a kid,
of course.
right?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then show up anyway, right? You might be having the worst day ever. But when you show up for someone, your presence matters more than what you say. Cause right. That phrase of say what, you can say, what is it? It's not so much what you say, it's how you make a person feel. Your presence matters to the life of kids and anyone, but specifically for kids, like we don't know in the church anywhere, right? I don't know what that kid walks through at home. I don't know if that kid has a home. I don't know what their situation is like, but my presence showing up, even if I might not want to, or might not feel like my best self, my consistency in just showing up and being a physical presence in the life of a kid, that can change everything. It can change me, more importantly, but you might be the only consistency a kid has, and who shows up anyway, no matter what. It's Jesus. So that's, kid ministry. And also I said this to you earlier, it's part of the journey of going through counseling school, is when you're dealing with an adult, you're actually dealing with a kid. Yeah. That's inside
stuff.
Yeah. So, I think, I have no shame in saying it. I think it's kids ministry, youth ministry, next gen ministry, family, whatever you want to call it, is the most important ministries of the church because it impacts everything. You've got kids, you got parents. If you got parents, you got somebody's kid somewhere, right? If you got an adult or you were a kid. So it impacts everything, I think. Yeah. I could die on hills there.
That's good. Well, Blaire, tell people what you like when you're just trying to like relax and be yourself and do the things that you love. Like, what are some things people could find you doing?
Sleeping.
Bowling.
Honestly, like if you don't get a text from me, I'm probably, I'm also very bad at my phone. So it's usually sitting down. I don't always look at it, which is bad. People. I love being with people. I love hanging out. I have a little, almost 1-year-old Rottweiler. His name is Griffey after Ken Griffey Jr. So we walk a lot, hang out a lot, dog parks. I love to golf. I love to play. I love Top Golf. I have lived here over a year and I have not been to Top Golf. Oh, that's a lie. Okay, I've been once. That's a lie.
We're gonna edit that out.
So I love Top Golf. I love driving range. I love going golfing. That's one of my favorite things to do. I'm an aunt, so I love hanging out with my niece and nephews when I can. I like binge watching Netflix shows. Documentaries are my jam. Like I love learning about people, about things. Love Legos. I love to build things. So also if you're like, this is how I know I'm a kids pastor. It's sad, but true. Or middle school, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to COSI, anybody loves the COSI, but if you're going to COSI, I want to come.
You want to go?
If you're going to Legoland, please invite me. Like if you're going to Disney, okay? If you need an extra babysitter, don't call me, but I will come and I will show you around Disney. Like I just love, people probably jokingly I've been told I have like a child's heart. So like Mater, Cars, love him. So I have like childlike loves for things. I don't know. I think those are my go-tos.
Well, then I think there were two things that really set you over
Waffles.
over the edge of saying we need her on the team for Rob. And it was when you said you had a Rottweiler.
Oh, that.
And it's that you drove up in the Jeep that is identical to his Jeep.
It's actually identical, which was weird. He doesn't have any, like, are they called hubcaps? Those, which, Rob, we got to work on that. Yes.
Yeah. He's got some, yeah. So, although I think latest is that he wants to drive it off a cliff because it's driving him nuts fixing it.
It's expensive. Yeah. I'm thinking about getting a Subaru, but I do love my Jeep. Her name's Lizzo.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to, like if you were to say you have unfiltered moment to talk to parents about, at Shepherd Church, just kind of like your introduction, what would you want to say to them?
Yeah. I'm always on your side. My journey through childhood and my story, I'm not a parent yet. I've had a lot of experience nannying and doing all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm going to be your number one advocate in the room because I recognize that your role in the life of your child is much more important than mine. I get to partner. I get to be on side, but I get to use my influence because usually that's how it happens is I get to be the one that says the stuff that you've said 1,000 times, right? But my heart and my personhood and really why I love kids ministry, why I love ministry with young people in general is to really, again, partner with families to point kids to Jesus. Because at the end of the day, who's going to be there? It might not be me, but it hopefully will be you as the parent and family. So my hope and my heart is to walk alongside you, to know that I'm always on your side, and I might not know everything, but I can be there and I can walk alongside and be a support. So I'm excited to be a part of the family.
Yeah. And how could people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
You got some social media handles you wanna shout
out? It's pretty simple. At Blaire.Crutchley. Spell that. BLAIRE dot, period. CRUTCHLEY.
Yeah.
On all things.
There you go.
Instagram, Facebook.
You had to get it before anybody else did. So you went ahead and...
Yeah, because, somebody's going to be big.
All those Blaire
Crutchleys. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Shepnaz podcast. Thankful for Pastor Blaire for coming out even before she starts work to be a part of things. So if you want to get a hold of her, you can do that. You could also email bcrutchley@shepnaz.org. At this moment, it's not active, but maybe by the time this episode airs, it will be.
Any hate mail, send it to someone else.
Send it to podcast@shepnaz.org. As always, if you want to know what's going on at Shepherd, you can find out on our website, and you can find our social media pages, and you can email us at podcast@shepnaz.org. For Pastor Blaire, I'm Joey. Have a great day.
Have a good one.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.